where I was born, a lot of um, a rough life, but at the same time, a fulfilling life that taught me a lot, that made helped to form me into the person that I became. Um, Man, a lot of thunder and lightning, rainy days and cold, frostbitten days of playing on the basketball floor, just trying to um, trying to overcome poverty and be able to take care of my family. Being in a city where my career or my chances to be really recognized was almost destroyed by the state of Mississippi that uh, wouldn't allow me to go to a Nike camp if I didn't pay my way, and we didn't have the money. And after someone paying my way, putting it in my mother's account, I couldn't even bring back the paraphernalia from the camp that I paid my way to. So it's a place that also I had grown bitter because I started thinking about all the other people before me that was probably also destroyed because of that. So a lot of mixed emotions. We called her Miss Cookie. She gives you the impression of the Medea, the role that Tyler Perry plays. Very strong, aggressive black woman, and she saw me playing on the playground at the elementary school, and I didn't know that they were practicing because I didn't see any cars. And she called me up and she said, "Hey, come here." I said, "Oh, yes, ma'am." She said, "Go in there and train." I said, "Miss Cookie, you're gonna have to ask my mother." She said, "Don't worry about that. I'll talk to her later. Go in there and try out." And I went in and tried out, and the rest is history. A game changer. Uh, um, Pairing up with Coach Jenkins, by far for me, the best coach I've ever had. How disciplined and meticulous he was, how he understood the game, would open up the gym literally, unless he was sick or there was emergency, would open up the gym every time you called. And really put me in a position just to, he saw something in me and just let me go. And literally the best coach that I've had.
I'm like a perfectionist. I don't like to do anything wrong, and I don't like to make mistakes. And I just work hard at what I'm doing. I want to be the best at what I'm doing.
Purchase your tracks today.
He's certainly the best offensive player I've ever coached or ever seen in high school, that's for sure.
Systems matter. You know, if I would have went to a program that they wanted to turn me into one of those guards that just pass 80% of the time, you would have never saw the Chris Jackson at LSU. And so, yeah. Oh man, anytime you get awards like that, it means a whole lot, because you're playing. There's so many people, like all of the high schools and the amount of people that are playing, competing against each other, and for them to single you out and choose you for that award, I never take those things for granted. I'm always grateful, because you had a lot of, oh my goodness, a lot of great players, very competitive, especially during that time. They didn't get a lot of attention until I went to LSU. They start really looking into Mississippi. But man, Mississippi had a lot of great ballers, a blessing, a headache too. Both can exist in the same time. But if it wasn't for Tourette syndrome, I don't think I would ever have. I worked hard, true. I worked hard. I wanted to be successful, but Tourette's pushed me where I myself would not have gone without it. And so if it wasn't for Tourette's, I wouldn't have become the basketball player that I became. And so I'm indebted to this syndrome. I look at it as a blessing. It's and even with my empathy and sympathy for others, because when you're living with something that's in your face, even if you want to be arrogant and cocky, it's hard to be, because someone can look at you and point and say, man, you can't even hardly control yourself, right? So it humbles you in big ways. So I'm definitely grateful. LSU, in a sense, also a game changer, and a blessing, but sort of a surprise, because you just never know what the future holds, and you believe in yourself. But you're talking about a freshman coming in and you hear all the stories, right, about it's going to take time to get here and to do this, and Dale Brown just gives me carte blanche and said, hey, go for it. And to see what I was able to do at my size in that scenario 2 years in a row, and him seeing that and catering around it, man, I made literally the best choice. And I remember him telling me, he came with a different approach than the rest of the universities. He said, listen, we have this guy, Fess Irvin, and if you come and you have what it takes, you're gonna play. He didn't promise me anything. And I like that, because that told me that, you know what? It seems like you about fairness, like whoever get the job. And that's all I wanted. I didn't want that unfair favoritism. And so that's why I chose to go there, and the rest is history.
Last 9 shots. There's a 3. Oh! LSU trailed by 13 at the half. Dribbles right. 8 points for Dave. Oh, what a move.
14 of Ole Miss's 18. They lead by 1. Here's Jackson. A 2.
Go. Jackson, the main man. Anthony watching him. Here's the try up before the ball game, like he normally does. That clip-on tie.
Seconds. Jackson. For Jackson.
The leaner off balance.
14 to go. Jackson with the move. The jump. 2.
A win by Florida gives the Gators no worse than a tie for the title. Oh. Mississippi State by 4. Jackson, no look pass.
This is Jackson. Puts up the quick three and gets it.
Jackson brings it back down for the Tigers. It's inside. There's the jump shot. Chris Jackson, nice move, overscored.
He gets the basketball now, kicks it in the corner to Jackson for three.
Davis has all four second half Gator points. Jackson. Look at him trying to draw the foul.
Of Wayne Sims, not Chris Jackson. That's
Ole Miss offense. Jack.
After a timeout, you can expect this. They just clear that side. He's got 25, and the good news is the slump's over. Oh, yeah. The best shooter out, Tom. Keep him away from that board. Jackson with that. 76-63. Jackson right back at you. Won't work, but Chris is able to save it on the wing. Another three.
A beast. Knew what he wanted early. Worked very hard. Displayed a lot of confidence. Had a vision that he saw, moved toward it, and saw it manifest itself. He told me in the dorm one time, and I talk about this a lot. And I said, man, how did he was able to see that at that age? You know, now you see the contracts, $200, $300 million. He said, I'm gonna be the first player that makes 80 million. And he did it. I ain't gonna say, I mean, he made way more than 80 million. You know, so he was just that, and a funny guy, like what you see now, joking and break dancing and all of that. He was doing that at LSU.
The third pick in the 1990 NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Chris Jackson from LSU.
Excited and nervous because it's a new chapter. And again, you just never know what the next steps are going to bring. So you're eager, you're excited, but you're nervous. Not scared, just nervous because it's a big step. And you're just hoping that, you know, I mean, something that you've seen constantly, right? Up until that point, you're the one now on stage being called. And then it's a life changer because also, you know, being drafted is connected to being able to take care of your family. You know, but also understanding that, hey, you can't get comfortable, you know, because every single day somebody's training to quote unquote take your position. Yes, all of that is going through your mind and more, you know, while you're at in those situations. Drafted me the third pick, first round, really through the influence of Doug Moe, but then fired Doug Moe to get Paul Westhead. It wasn't a great first 2 years for me, adjusting to a different climate, a different coach that I didn't think really wanted me. And so I went through some mental challenges with that, contemplating even giving up basketball. But then all of the years of training and being competitive clicked in and said, no, I've come too far. I'm not leaving. No, that's not the way my story is going to be. I ended up getting the most improved. We started off terrible, getting booed almost every game. And then it shifted to see the change. Now people are rooting for us. The fans are screaming and yelling. They appreciate the team. I didn't want to leave them. Like literally my heart was like, I want to in my career here, because I loved it so much. I loved the people, the different seasons, what we were able to move towards. So those are some of the thoughts. But also it was the place where, you know, the other things happened, you know, but I wouldn't change it, man. I mean, really, because I was supposed to go through that to get to where I am now.
This is a world, or United States is a place where, you know, we can practice any kind of religion. You know, it's never really been forced that we have to practice a certain religion. And here he is, he's practicing his religion, and he has certain views about, you know, certain things. And is it something that we should judge? We should question him about? I don't know if you should ask the guy to certainly go against his religious beliefs, you know, and I think if he believes that, then, you know, we have to honor that.
When he was on the basketball floor, you had to bring your A game. There's no, with any of them, but especially with him, there's no relaxing, because, you know, but he's that type of player that literally just the fact that he's on the floor, he's going to bring out the best in him because of the caliber of player he is. You know, and understood his strengths, and was able to get to those spots, also while using the mental side of the game. I didn't hear him talking a lot because we didn't guard each other, but sometimes it's just a look, a comment, not even disparaging, not even, you know, it's just how he carried himself. You knew he was, you know, listen, he is definitely, there's always going, any year you talk about in basketball, he will never be out of the argument in who was one of the greatest of the great. He will never be out of that argument. The imagination is the strongest thing you have, and so I would create these 2-3 invisible people that I would play against, and they were always fingertip on the ball. And so I'm trying to pop. I'm trying to escape, create space with my imagination, right? And then I'm also going up and I'm imagining getting hit and going up, and they holding you, and you still got to find a way to get the shot off. So if I can create space with my imagination, I felt no human being can stay with me like my imagination can. You know, and so I'm playing against these 2-3 invisible people, and they're always this close. You know, and every now and then I create space. So this is why I said, if I can beat them, a human being can't stay with me like they can.
on second. Jackson for the game. Yes! Oh my! Chris Jackson and the Nuggets at the buzzer.
I can't see the Nuggets doing that. And I wouldn't say necessarily because of the Nuggets themselves, maybe because of them, but just the NBA and the relationship that I don't have with them. The people in Denver has always been warm to me, even going through the flag issue. I've never had a problem with the people, and I don't think the people really had a problem with me. I'm a people's person, so I'm always in the streets. I'm always talking to people. And so they felt that they knew me in light of all of what the media was saying. But to answer your question, no, I can't. That would be a major, major surprise if they wanted to do that. Look, Dale, when he came to the team, he was definitely, I mean, I was there for 6 years, so he wasn't there for the full 6. But he was, for me, my best teammate. He would have a bad game and he would be in the mirror getting dressed and he'd look at me, he said, at least I look good. So he took it serious, but not too serious. But also on the court, he had his moments, but Dale could shoot the lights out of that ball. He wasn't a guy that's going to break you down off the handle, but he'll give you a head fake and a jab and go. He can shoot it. He can finish at the rack. And he was just a great teammate. And we would sit on the plane together often, like by each other. That was kind of like our seat. And I would pass him information. He would read it. We would discuss it. So just a really good dude. And he tells me that story all the time. He said, you were one of the few that I would say, okay, if the coach wants you to shoot, I ain't gonna complain. Anybody else, I'm like, man, what you doing, man? You can't let him shoot. You gotta let me shoot. Yeah. So we would talk about that a lot. And I felt the same. If they said, hey, Dale, we want you to get the last shot. Right. The thing that I love about overseas, and it was my philosophy when I was younger, was that I always fought against this idea of putting people in a box. Like, we grew up where there's a big man and the big man belonged underneath the basket, right? And, you don't need to be dribbling and shooting and all of this. And I fought against that. I didn't like it because the more valuable you are, the more versatile you are. If you have a Shaq that's guarding you and say you're not as heavy as Shaq, but you could bring Shaq out on the wing and break him down like a KD, why not learn those skills? What if we need you to bring the ball up because we're being pressed? So overseas, whatever the guard did, the big man did. And the big man did, the guards did. Everybody, because it's relative. Everybody's learning and going through the same drills, which is why a lot of big dudes overseas can shoot, can pass, can dribble. And so that's the thing that I appreciated when I was overseas a lot. Well, I'm not involved with the NBA. I'm just involved with some NBA players and agents who represent them. Yes. Yeah. So they call me to train certain guys, and I've trained with Emmanuel Quickly before, and he can flat out shoot the ball. It's just one of those situations where he need to be on, because he's had a 40-something point game before. And, so he needs just the playing time on a consistent basis. I think he'll be definitely one of those players, if he's able to get that, to get a major contract. I've never been to France. I'm looking forward to visiting. I'm just grateful that you guys have seen some importance in wanting to talk to me and have this conversation. I'm very grateful, and so I'm looking forward to at some point visiting the country and meeting the people and going to the gym and seeing the talent that you have there in the area. I'm shouting out to Mvip. Please tune in, listen to them. Great program.